course, I got a phone call literally as soon as this thing was about to start. Like literally, I was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna call you literally right now." It's so annoying, but I get a lot of like fake calls from people. Like I get a lot of those.
You got fans, man.
It's not even like it's like the like fake calls like from people that are trying to scam me. I get those like a lot, so everything is like scamming and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it always happens when I'm trying to do a stream. Everyone, welcome to
Put your phone on silent.
I know.
Be professional.
Either I'm not on silent or I'm on D&D and I forget to take it off. Like I'm a wreck. But you guys, make sure you guys are liking the video and subscribing to the channel. We have another live show. We just got off of Diluted's channel where we were talking about all things Arsenal. And so now we're going to continue that. The same but different. We have quite a bit to talk about. We have Madrid that we have drawn in the Champions League. BERTA is allegedly getting to work. We definitely need to talk about that because they're doing war chest conversations again. We're doing the war chest, so which is wild in 2025 that we're still talking about war chest. And then also Chelsea ahead, which I think something that's maybe, and I kind of want to start here, is something that's going under the radar is our form in the Premier League is really poor. And I'm getting a little bit concerned that if we don't start picking up points, we may get locked in this top 4 race. And there's just no way that we could possibly not finish in the top 4, right? No way.
I mean, Jess,
or outside the top 4, I mean.
Jess, where do you want to start? You want to start with that top 4 stuff?
Yeah, I want to start there. Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, I think we're a shoo-in for the top 4, but as you alluded to there, our form has been quite lackluster for a variety of reasons: injuries, feeling sorry for ourselves, out of steam, tactics, players not really being at it, not having players available, yada yada yada. If you're an Arsenal fan, and I'm sure if you follow Jess's streams, she's covered all of this, or we've covered this between our 2 streams and the collaborative pieces we've done, so everybody knows the landscape. But the reality is, you look at the relegation race. Mathematically, somebody could draw themselves out, but it seems like the teams that went up are going down. Liverpool have won the league at their champions elect. If there was anything to play for, it is the European places, and we're closer to being drawn into that than we are to obviously winning a league. And obviously at the end of the day, like you said, when our form has been the way it is, we're going to draw ourselves out, really. I don't think we'll finish outside of the top 4 race, but if we don't get our act together like Chelsea on Sunday and start amassing points, we are going to draw ourselves out. Yeah, the top 5 positions get it, but it doesn't look good if we... I would say, well, I would like us to secure second. Not that it really makes a difference, but if we were to finish 4th, then you got to ask questions, innit? It's been poor, man. Like it's been poor.
Yeah, unfortunately, like we need to stop the bleeding. I think
exactly
not being able to score goals in the Premier League is becoming. I think we anticipated that when Kai Havertz and Saka both got injured, that we would struggle. But the level to which we're struggling is quite alarming. We weren't really able to do anything against Manchester United, which was like, and I know that they're not like the worst side in the world, but they were in really poor form. And
they had key players missing themselves as well.
Yeah, we made them look a lot better than what they actually are. We didn't score against Nottingham Forest. We didn't score against West Ham. It's starting to become... To me, it's a worry because I know how Arsenal are. And if there's something at the end of the season that we have to maintain or need to win to maintain it or get it or keep it, we tend not to be able to get it over the line. And we need to keep that buffer between us and the next group. And that starts this weekend against Chelsea. Essentially, I view this as a 6-pointer. If we win, then we keep them away from us, because they're a team that's in the chasing pack. I'm not too concerned about the narratives around the 2 teams and the projects and all that kind of stuff. I don't care. I just need us to get the 3 points. We threw away 2 points against them at Stamford Bridge earlier on in the season, in my opinion. Like
100%.
Yeah, we shouldn't have
second year in a row in the Bridge.
Absolutely. And so we need to win this game. Do you think we have enough in us? You think we have the ability to get it done at home?
We're gonna have to find a way, man. Like it's all hopes are on Wanyeri, innit? And Lewis Skelly, but We're gonna have to find a way, just like we're gonna have to find a way. You said it all there, and there's not an ounce of positivity I can unnecessarily throw in it. We see the remit. I feel, yeah, the injuries and not what we haven't done, and all of these kind of things, and have played a part in why we're out of steam. But even when everybody's fit, we still have the same issues. It's just masked by, even to a degree, with Wanyeri's individual brilliance, with Saka. So we're gonna have to find a way. You know, Chelsea are gonna be up for it. We need to be up for it. It's all fun and games going through against PSV and whatnot. We're gonna have to find a way, man. We're going to have to. You know, again, if it wasn't Chelsea on the weekend, I don't think he would start. But naturally, because he got 2 assists, Sterling could have played his way into contention. We're gonna have to find a way. I don't have any real confidence that's to say we're going to win, because our form doesn't dictate that. I feel we're kind of freestyling, but we're going to have to find a way. Like, we can't feel sorry for ourselves. I know the league is gone, but at the end of the day, you got Chelsea, Fulham, Brentford, Liverpool away, some tough games out there. Crystal Palace at home, Bournemouth at home. We're gonna have to win. The quicker we win games and solidify our place in, dare I say, the top 3, the better. We're gonna have to find a way, man. You know, Cole Palmer has been out of sorts. He's not gonna look like that. It all depends how they set up. Are they going to take a leaf out of hard? Well, we know anyone that deploys a mid and deep and low block, they do their thing. Are Chelsea going to say, well, United are 15th, they can't keep a clean sheet? Amorim coached some sort of defensive setup. Arsenal had no answers. Are we going to take a leaf out of that? Or are they going to try and come at us? Now, I know we don't move the ball quick enough. And as you rightly said, we're struggling to score goals. But that probably suits us a lot better. I know our top 6 record is kind of faultless. I know we've dropped stupid points at times, but we're going to have to find a way, Jess, man. It's as simple as that. We're going to have to find a way. We have to.
Absolutely. I've watched Chelsea this season, but I have to admit that out of all of the top 6 teams, I've probably seen less of their games than anybody else.
It weren't that amazing versus Leicester.
Yeah, they're not a team that I think goes defensive ever, and they're not great defensively at all. I think individually they have some really shaky defenders out there. So
just like against Leicester, they had some hairy moments. So you're right.
Yeah. So we should be able to get the job done. I don't know. I just don't trust us. And it's not because we have more than enough talent in this side, even with injuries, to make these games a lot easier. But I just don't think that I see the body language that tells me that they're up for it. I don't know if it's just we're out of the title race, so I couldn't give a flip. But the way that we played against Manchester United infuriated me, not necessarily just because of the draw, but it was more because we diddled around in the first half, so much so that I saw flicks and tricks and fake shots and stuff like that. Weren't really creating clear-cut opportunities, but we're acting like we had all the time in the world and eventually it would come off, just to concede the most obvious goal we'd ever concede, which is the free kick for Bruno Fernandes. And then in the second half, there wasn't really much of a change until I think Martinelli and somebody else came on, and then we got a little bit more energy, but it really wasn't good enough. At the very end, it really could have went left. You can make a good solid argument
4-5-1 if United could score.
Exactly. And so we make the worst teams look decent. West Ham were not any good before they played us, and that was like their best game of the season against us when they beat us. We make really bad teams look good. So Chelsea are not a really bad team, so I'm not quite sure. Maybe it'll take us playing against a better side to get up for it, but it really shouldn't take that. I feel like we've struggled to get up for games against lower, not as good sides. Like, we lower our levels. Do you agree with that? I feel like that's the sense I'm getting with them.
I do think that. I don't think it's as extreme as fans make out, but I do think that. I definitely think that's the case against West Ham. I wouldn't say Newcastle in the cup that was the case. I just think we moved like a bunch of pussycats. United, I don't quite believe that was the case. I think it was kind of on brand with, even when everybody's fit, what we see all season. We have a lot of possession. We press high, down the left, down the right. But we don't work the keeper enough. We really don't. Like, Onana, at no point in that first half did I go raw to save. And I do think, even when you look at it statistically, I think we should have wrapped it up in the first half, but we didn't create anything. But when you look at it statistically, we probably had more possession, more shots, all of those kind of things. So it gives the illusion that we deserve to win the game. But the hardest thing to do is to score goals, and we don't do that. And obviously, when you don't kill teams, you start to have that kind of thing where we make stupid mistakes. The sequence that led to the free kick, let alone, I know David Raya saved us and big him up, but he could have done better for the free kick. The wall weren't really that good enough. We draw ourselves out unnecessarily. We did the only thing we really did that was good is we eventually found the goal. Now, again, injuries and the lack of summer signings and January signings plays a part, but we're a draw was on brand. We have to thank our lucky stars we didn't lose to United. If Zertsky, Mazawari, Bruno Fernandes, and Cole had their goal scoring boots on, we lose that 4-5-1. So I think it's a case of it's a different day. I'm watching the same movie, if that makes sense. Like I'm seeing the same things again and again. Like this is us, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wild to me. And it just, because we're not really picking up any points, I really do think they need to focus. And, if they're feeling sorry for themselves because of the injuries and not being in the title race, and basically Liverpool have very much so won it
And the gap
already.
is not changing nothing.
They need to pull the finger out, because it's going to be a tough battle for those top 5 spots. And as much as we feel comfortable now, which I do feel like is the reason why KSC did not decide to do anything into the January window, they looked at it and said, well, we got top 4, but if there's one thing I know about Arsenal is that they could really fuck something up if they're under pressure. Really fuck something up. I watched them during a title race drop points to West Ham after being up 2-0, drop 2 points against Liverpool after being up 2-0,
Villa as well,
and then turn around and bust it open for fucking Southampton. So I know this team down. That's why I'm just a little worried. I know some people are like, there's just no way, but we're not picking up points. If we were picking up points, I would agree with you guys. But in the last 3 games, we've scored 1 goal, drawn 2, and lost 1 in the Prem. So I don't know what it's going to take for this team to wake the fuck up, but they need to go ahead and do that, like literally now. Boy says someone had to put their hand up as a goal scorer for this final chapter of the season. Somebody senior. I don't think it's coming. Now, there was the comment from Keenan. He was, and this has obviously been doing the rounds because we're seeing different players play. Not necessarily White, because we know what White is on. We know that he is, when he's fit, he's one of our best players, blah, blah, blah. But Zinchenko and Tierney are 2 players that are being utilized in different positions now. And they may not be perfect, but they're at least giving us a different option. Do you think that seeing Tierney left wing, or, being utilized more, or even Zinchenko in midfield, shows that Mikel's been a little bit maybe rigid in the way that he used his players? Should he have not used some of these players a little bit more, especially Zinchenko in midfield? Because people are asking questions, and we've asked for a while, but Arteta's like, no. But now we're seeing him in midfield, and we're like, maybe he could have been an option there. A midfielder playing in midfield, who would have thought?
It's innovative, isn't it? Really. I mean, let's be honest. Like, it's a double-edged sword, because managers better than Arteta are extremely stubborn, and as a manager, you do need to be arrogant. You do need to be stubborn. But life is very hypocritical in a sense that at times you need to be the complete opposite. Let's be brutally honest. We're only seeing Zinchenko, whether he's good enough in midfield or not, because there's got to be a reason Pep Guardiola, let alone Arteta, played him as a fullback. But let's be honest, it's a needs must thing. That's why you're seeing Tierney play. That's why you're seeing Zinchenko. I do think Wanyeri and Lewis Skelly would have come through, but let's be honest, it took a lot for them to get their opportunities owing to the bodies dropping. So he does need to be a bit more flexible in that regards, but it's a needs must thing. He has to. Ironically, Mikel Arteta talks a lot about internal solutions. You have to find them, because we didn't do what we needed to do in the summer, brought nobody in January. It is what it is. I think he's doing all of that because he has to, really, in spite of it's really just with injuries rather than in spite of injuries. He's not on that. We know what Arteta wants to do. He wants to win the ball back as high as he can. He wants these athletic midfielders. He wants to, the runs from Declan Rice, the inverted fullback, indirectly a back 3. The left winger is holding the width. The right winger is the one going to receive the ball in the middle. We know what Odegaard's doing. He is stuck and fixated on that, and it's not going to change. But yeah, to go back to your question, it's a needs must thing. He had to. He has no choice. That's how I know we're out of ideas. I mean, Marino's playing up front. It's a needs must thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at our final kind of games, and it's not making for great reading, you guys, to be honest. We're either coming up against a decent side or a team that is 110% gonna deep block us, so we're in a little bit of a pickle. Arsenal and Chelsea will probably be the most open game that we'll play. I don't see Maresca being defensive. I've never seen him be defensive, to be honest. He's not Ange, but he ain't no Simeone, right? You have Arsenal, Fulham. Fulham definitely employ a mid to low block at the Emirates. That's going to be tough.
That's
Going
bad news for us
Everton
anyways.
away. Moyes is not above deep blocking us at home and nicking the point. Brentford, mid to deep block against us at home. You have Ipswich away. Not quite sure how they're going to set up. Crystal Palace will probably sit in a little bit. Bournemouth might be a little bit more open. Then we have Liverpool. Then we have Newcastle. And then we have Southampton. So I would like to see, I know we won't see it because Arteta's hard-headed, but in these games that, highlighted that will probably get deep mid-block, I would love for him to just forego this whole idea that we need to play the two DMs and just go with Odegaard and Zinchenko in the eights and just try to get somebody that can unlock it, because we're going to need it. These teams, like this, going into 2025,
Or an overlapping fullback
an
consistently.
overlapping fullback, you can use Tierney, as that player, and just try to get on the end of things. But especially because Tierney is one of, if not our best crosser outside of like Saka.
Every time he
And
comes on, he puts a devilish cross into the box. Need some more of this.
absolutely. So Arteta is probably going to need to be a little bit more creative, because what he's doing against the mid, I know what we're going to be like against Chelsea, what we're going to be like against Liverpool. I know we're going to be like against those two teams, because in reality, we step up for the top 6 games. We may not win them, but we usually do a little bit better. The games we're going to play against those teams that are going to sit in, I'm going to need him to find another solution. We
The games
cannot.
we should win.
Absolutely. That is like the biggest problem that I feel like we have. There was somebody that had Valeria asked the question, like, we don't create enough clear-cut opportunities, especially with low to mid-blocked. What needs to fucking change? We played way better in the last few years, a bit more fearless. What do you, I mean, I saw The Athletic come out with something like that. They're like, a striker is not the only thing that Arsenal need to focus on. We don't create enough chances. What is the fucking problem? What's wrong with us?
I keep saying it's a mixture of things, man. Like, you could sign Isaac and Nico Williams. I just say them because they're 2 players linked with us, and just assume that you put them into the team ahead of what would be Kai Havertz and Martinelli, and assume we're going to get better. We're creating 2 chances a game. That's not sustainable, even for the most lethal of attacking players. I do think new signings helps. I do think a lot of it is to go with the tactics. Again, in theory, I like the way Arteta approaches things, but there needs to be a balance. I don't think you can go gun-ho from minute 0 to minute 90. But when that little slow left and right isn't working, can we move the ball quicker? Like you said, can you get the Zinchenko's and them kind of players in the pockets? Can we get more than just one runner like in Declan Rice? Can we sometimes just say, you know what, the inverted thing isn't working out? Can we just play overlapping fullbacks? Because again, Arteta, these managers, they know more about football than me. I am just an armchair expert. But 9 times out of 10, whether it's a deep, mid, or low block, the whole point of them things working is it not to be compact and rigid and not really concede much space. So to have any chance, you've got to pull that shape out. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with everything that you're saying. And there's so many good comments coming through from people that are giving their opinion on it as well. And I think a lot of those are correct too. And I think when it comes to like the whole Zinchenko thing, is most people are going to say that they want him sold in the summer, but we still have business to take care of this season. Whether you think we're going to win something or not, we must like secure this Champions League spot sooner rather than later. And it is not secure. It was very much so in the balance, whether you like it or not. And so coming up against these teams that are going to do the same thing over and over again, mid-deep block, we need a different look. Zinchenko, and mind you, we all just watched a team in PSG that went to Anfield, one of the most, stressful and like whatever atmosphere you want to call it, against a good Liverpool side with 2 fucking midgets in their midfield. I'm so tired of hearing this whole thing that we need to have these big, strong off the ball players. Vitinha and João Neves are shorter than me. They are shorter than me. They are smaller than me. And they were out there winning the midfield. You don't always have to have the biggest and strongest and off the ball. I think Arteta needs to prioritize what we can do on the ball with the players that we have when we have the majority of the ball. You can't have players that don't have the ability to unpick the locks out there when we're going to have 90% possession. And Zinchenko, whatever his faults are off the ball, he just has the ability to pick a fucking pass. And so you're going to have to use him. I know he's not fit. Of course, he's not 100% fit because he hasn't really played this season, but get him fit because there is no way you can. What we've been doing, it just doesn't work against the deep blocks. And that's no shade to Rice
Just
or
the reality.
it's just the reality. It really, really is. I'm so tired of watching this other teams like being able to control midfields without having to have, the biggest players out there because it's just a fallacy. We've convinced ourselves that everybody needs to be 6 foot, but they don't. They really don't. Boy says, why do people believe we need big, strong players when we've watched Xavi Simmons out wrestle Xhaka and Partey? Sammy says, we miss Xhaka. Words I never thought I would say a few years ago. Ha ha ha. Sir Owen says, I doubt we can beat Real Madrid. And if by sheer luck we do, I think we're taking the Champions League. We'll get into that in a second. Keenan says, I think that's why Zinni helps in our build-up so much. He has distribution point on the left-hand side that mixes up our points of attack. And the thing, if you're going to have somebody like Zinni out there, you're going to have to require your defenders to do more defending because Zinni is going to give away that ball. One thing about Zinchenko, he's going to have at least 1 or 2 fucked up balls. He's going to have at least 1 or 2. But
and he's not switched on defensively or the most defensively switched on player.
Absolutely. But is that is that con so bad that it outweighs the pros? I don't think so. So I think Arteta is going to have to, and this is just even beyond this season. I think Arteta needs to rethink his strategy in terms of if you have a bunch of players that, let's be honest, since the 2022-2023 season and the last 2 seasons that we have, the technical level of the side has dropped. It has. I'm not saying that the team has gotten shit. I'm just saying the technical level has dropped away and the physical level has gone up. But now we have more ball than ever because the way that we play is now we have the ball. So it doesn't work that way. If you have less technical security, but more of the ball, of course you're not going to be able to make it work. So I don't understand why. Exactly. If we're more an off the ball team now, why don't we give the other team the fucking ball? But we want to have the ball, but we don't want to have any technical ability out there. You can't be like that. I think Arteta needs to rethink that shit. I think he needs to rethink that shit. It doesn't fucking work. And say what you want about Granit Xhaka, but he had a technical level that I just don't think that like the Marinos and these guys can really like add up to. Like I really, really don't. Speaking of Xhaka, we need to speak on BERTA and the reports coming out about the war chest and that he wants to bring in ZUBIMENDI and Bruno G. I know that you said on your channel that you didn't think that this was true, but if it were the case that we wanted to bring in 2 midfielders, would those 2 be the kind of players that you'd want to bring in?
Yeah. I want 2 midfielders, as you just said. And who is going to say no to Bruno Guimaraes and ZUBIMENDI? Like, that's your 2 Partey and Jorginho replacements. You've got them with obviously Declan Rice. I do think, I mean, Ethan could do it as well. I guess he's still a work in progress in the 10, but you do kind of want someone to compete / deputize for Odegaard. I would wonder, though, again, we both know we're not, and many people listening on whatever platform, we know we're not getting all of these guys in it, but you're seeing reports from 60 million all the way up to in and around 100 for Bruno Guimaraes. ZUBIMENDI's costing about 50 million odd quid. So that's 150 million on 2 centre mids. That's without talking about a striker, potentially a left winger, renewing the deals of who needs to be renewed. Obviously, with BERTA, he's good at selling. We hope he can make things happen and turn it around in that regards. But it is before talking about outgoings. We've still got Kai Havertz on the wage bill. With all due respect to him, Gabriel Jesus can't be sold at least until the January of 2026 or the summer. He's on big wages. Maybe it's a fallacy. And as you said, man, we're at that stage as an Arsenal fan base. We're hearing war chest, 300 million. David Ornstein saying this. Ben Jacobs, I don't know if he's credible at all, is saying that. I'm at the point, show and prove, man. Like, if you want strikers and this centre mid and that centre mid, get them in it. Until then, it's dead, really, because we are at that point now. Like, it feels like it swings and roundabouts where our football club's concerned.
Yeah. What are you expecting from Andrea Berta? Whether it's from like the way that he operates or the types of players that he brings in, what are your expectations on the maybe limited or vast knowledge about this person? I think we all have an idea in our head what we kind of are expecting. I want to know what you're expecting in this summer window from him.
I mean, if I'm honest, and I know fans don't want to hear this, I will really judge better this time next year because I think you'd have had a year to immerse yourself at Arsenal. I know when you must have been signing for Arsenal, they must have told you their plans, the sort of deals they've got in the works, and indirectly you pick up the pieces or you pick up from Jason Ito, where we heard the lead in the charge for Zubimendi. For me, it's a double-edged sword because Berta could be the right man for us. He could have all the ideas in the world. But if people are not listening to him, if he doesn't have an equal voice in comparison to Arteta, then it's all kind of dead, really. In terms of this summer, can you get me a striker? Can you get me a centre mid? Can we be in a reality where we're not scrambling for the Nettles and Sterlings on deadline day? He would probably need the power, but can there? And again, like what you said on my platform, and I think you said it right, there's obviously times Arteta might win the war of a player, and obviously Berta. I look at Liverpool. I'm sure Klopp was right about a lot of their recruitment, but it's well known he wanted Julian Brandt. Michael Edwards wanted Mohamed Salah. It's fair to say Salah's worked out decent for Liverpool. I don't want Arteta to always get his way because when the signings work out, it's great, but then people always want to sit here and blame the Cronkies. I think everybody needs to be blamed and held accountable at this football club. And what I would say is, did the Cronkies say to necessarily sign Kai Havertz and Marino for the best part of over 100 million? I can't tell you who we should sign in that regards, but I reckon every Arsenal fan could think of better ways of using that money. So for me, I would say the priorities: can you get me a centre mid? Can you get me a striker? Can you get me a left winger? Can you get the renewals of Saliba, Saka, and Magalhaes? Can you start to turn the wheels in terms of outgoings? Like Zinchenko, you mentioned his name. Zinni's got a year left on his deal. Can we get a decent fee? Can we get a decent fee for Trossard? Because there's rumours with him. So I would say that really. I'm not expecting too much immediately, but I would say that, man, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I think, chemists. Oh my days. My mom. Now she's calling. I
Big
have
up
to
my
go
man.
on D&D, my bad. But I think I am expecting to see the influence, but I think my worry is that we've had so many targets that have been kind of set in stone for so long that they'll want to continue on with those. In an ideal world, I want to see some of the targets change because I'm not 100% sure that the people that we're linked with currently, meaning Sesko Williams and Zubimendi and some sort of left back and goalkeepers, is going to really is going to get us over the line. So I'd like to see us be maybe a little bit more aggressive, but I think I'm expecting him to at least be able to identify the type of striker that's going to take us to the next level because he's really good at identifying strikers, and for us to get the types of attackers that are going to be able to mitigate or like compensate for this worker bee midfield that we're going to have.
Yeah.
And that's what I call it. It's like a workers midfield. It's really not a midfield that's going to put up the type of assist numbers that I think people are looking for. And I did some research the other day.
Physical like the Invincibles without the quality, and it's a far cry from the early Emirates era, the more diminutive,
Yeah.
creative players.
And even think about like Liverpool when they had Mane and Firmino and Salah, that I don't think people really spoke a lot about Wijnaldum and Jordan Henderson getting a lot of assists. They did all the work, but the attackers kind of just did their job. And I did some research as I wanted to see how our midfield really looks, how it looks against some of the better midfields in Europe. And looking at
Why would you put yourself through that?
well, I actually think that it's interesting because when I looked at PSG's midfield,
Better than us.
you look at João Neves and Vitinha's numbers, attacking wise, they got like the same amount of assists and goals that Odegaard has. They don't have any more than he does. Neither does Danny Olmo. Neither does Pedri. So, but if you look at Barcelona's numbers in La Liga, they've scored way more than anyone else. So if their midfielders are not providing Ozil levels of
Goes back to what you said. It's a
assists,
coaching thing as well.
yeah, as much as I do feel like Odegaard's having a poor season, I think there's a world where with better attackers, you don't require your midfield to serve everything up for you. I think we need attackers that can what Desiree Doué did the other day with Liverpool. He wasn't
Ridiculous player.
perfect, but he just like he had the action after action after action. He was creating the football on his own. A lot of our players either don't do it or cannot do it. And so I'm expecting BERTA to bring us players like that, because if you're getting the Bruno Guimaraes, if you're getting the Zubimendis, if the midfield pretty much stays the same, then you're going to need that. The attackers that we have right now don't. When's the last
They're
time?
not inevitable.
Yeah, they're not inevitable, and they don't create for each other. You know, the amount of times that Lamine Yamal provides for Rafinha and vice versa, that doesn't require somebody sitting at the 10 position serving it up. Like, it just doesn't happen that way.
There's not enough randomness in our team. It's too scripted and structured. And again, in isolation, I'm not against that, but there has to be balance. It's too predictable. So when it goes wrong, we know what happens, isn't it? Like, we're talking about the same things week in, week out, day in, day out, Arsenal fans. So you're bang on the money, man. Arteta has to take the handbrake off a little bit, man.
Absolutely. And he needs to we need attackers that create their own actions. And that doesn't mean that they have to necessarily be creative, but when they get the ball, they need to be able to beat their man and get a shot off, beat their man and get a cross in.
You only got two of those.
Right now, especially with Kai and Martinelli, they kind of need to tap the ball in, and that's making it.
We only got two on 117.
Absolutely.
I push Trossard, but he's
Yeah, he's so, because Trossard, when he's good, he's really good. When he's bad, he's really bad. And you just kind of never know what you're going to get. And I think that's the problem with Trossard, is he's kind of unpredictable in those ways. Kwame says BERTA will buy quality.
Hope so.
I know, right? Keenan says, Steve, I live in the States. You guys are talking to each other. Kwame says Zubamendi, Williams, Osimhen, BERTA will buy.
We're not getting Osimhen, man.
Victor says the game has moved away from high GA midfielders. Teams use workhorse midfields now, but the thing is they have amazing attackers, and this is kind of what I've been getting at for the last couple of weeks. Is there's two things can be true at the same time: that Odegaard's been terrible, but this whole thing where he needs to have 10, 11, 12 assists and have Ozil level numbers. That's not really how anybody operates. If we want to operate that way, then you'll need to get a different player and play a different type of midfield. But I really do think that our attackers just need to be able to create more for themselves, you know? So yeah, it's tough, but BERTA coming in is exciting. I just hope that in the summer they get the things that they need to get done. You know, we saw the Williams and, you know, and stuff like that. And he's been actually catching a lot of flack recently. I think people watched like his last game in the Europa League and it wasn't great. I know his brother had just spoken on like the fact that he knows that he'll get back into form. Like he knows Nico will get back into form, and we're being heavily linked with Nico now. Is he still a player that you would want at Arsenal, or do you think he's just too raw?
Bring him, man. You know what? Just bring him, because Arteta said if rumors are really true, and that's Arteta's guy, and everybody that's an Arteta apologist likes to say to me, Arteta needs his own players, but get that done. That's one less excuse.
Absolutely. I don't see what the big issue is with Nico Williams. I do think he's raw, but I don't see a player that lacks talent, and I don't think
the wages.
Yeah, the wages is probably the biggest issue. What about Lookman? I saw you did a video on him the other day. You know, is that a player that you'd want at Arsenal? Like, if you had to choose between Lookman and Nico Williams, who would you choose between the two of those two?
I'd probably bet a bit more. I'd probably bet on Nico Williams. I'm not against Lookman at all, because he's clearly got one foot out the door at Atalanta. We all see what's going on there. I'm sure with him, you know, like for footballers, sometimes you got to go through the bad as well as the good. He struggled in England. Like his best probable time in England was probably Charlton. We all know the penalty he missed against Fulham. Everyone forgets he was at Everton, didn't do anything at Leipzig. Obviously, he's found his feet at Atalanta in Italy, as obviously you know, doing his thing for Nigeria. So maybe the penny's dropped and he's got a point to prove. And he's obviously versatile as well. So I'm having either one, if I'm honest. I'd love the Ryan Cherkys of this world, them kind of attackers there, but I'm dream chasing.
Yep. Workhorse midfield, them attackers got to be something different. But I would love it for Arteta to be a little bit more flexible and add some more creativity into midfield as well.
Amen.
So, there's different ways that we could take it. Foxy says, would like to see Lookman at Arsenal taking pens. You're a hater, man.
Sure out,
Remus
man.
says,
Sure
the
hope
guy I
so, well,
want is
man.
Camavinga. Excellent fit. Would he be an excellent fit?
Excellent fit, but Arteta's going to play him left back. And it's one thing doing it for Real Madrid. It's the next thing doing it at Arsenal, bro. Camavinga at Arsenal. Bring that. Bring that. I'm having him over Bruno Gomares and Zubamendi 1,000,000%. It would mean Rice probably moves over to the right hand side, but yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm already like Miles Lewis Skelly. Let's not waste him at left back for too long.
He'll be all right, man. He'll be all right. There's game time for Lewis Kelly. He'll be all right. Bring Camavinga.
Kovac says, first of all, I cannot see Camavinga playing for Pep. Let me just say that. I cannot. There's multiple reasons. One of them being Pep doesn't usually have a lot of this in his team, okay? So I'm trying to understand how he's gonna play him. Like let's be so fucking for real right now. But I cannot see him at Man City. I can't. I'm so sorry. Kovac says Nico said recently he based his game on Zaha and even copied his hair, which I'm like, that's cute. That also means that you watch the Prem. I do think that he probably, my gut is telling me that we're going to get him somehow. I don't know how. I just think we're going to get him. I think Arteta's obsessed with him. We're not linked with anyone else.
So. It's the same names. It's him, Sesko, Zubimendi. If this is whether I think they're level raisers or not, get them in it. It's one less excuse for the gaffer.
Ambrose says Tchouaméni over Camavinga for me. I have to be honest. Camavinga over Tchouaméni for me. I think
same. I'm having both, man.
Yeah.
I'm having half the Real Madrid team, to be fair.
Yeah. Like most of them, 90% of those guys, they walk into our team. Like
exactly. They're home midfield.
Yeah. BOJ says Pep will make him cut his locks. I mean, I'm just gonna keep it really real. I don't
Them locks are terrible though, man.
I don't see it. Now I would love him at Arsenal, but I just don't think we'll get him. Valeria says, I'm curious to see what happens in the selling department. We haven't been good in that department for quite a while, which is just as important to buying players. And, like you said, in the January window, it would be interesting to see if he would, because, if we knew that Gabriel Jesus was going to come back before then, I would love to see a DOF being able to get him out in the January window. That's something I know Edu would not be able to do. It'd be put him in the team. Let's see how he does. Wait till the summer. If he could do that and get rid of him in January, I would be like, well done. The January window. Yeah, but I mean, we're gonna have an actual real DOF. I think some of the things. This is my hope that seemed very far-fetched and unattainable to us becomes a lot more attainable because we have somebody that's really, really experienced, Boy says, get me Zubamendi. I know you're on the Zubamendi train. You're also on the Jonathan David train, so I don't know if I'm feeling you.
I was just about to say that, man. He's definitely Jonathan David's agent, man. Let me get my 2%. I'm on sign Jonathan David. I'm on it as well, boy.
Yeah, exactly. It's wild. Victor
Let's
said,
count money together, boy.
Yeah, BERTA could definitely get us good fees for players we don't want. Ramsdale would have went for 30+ million under BERTA. So here's the thing. He comes with a lot of credibility and experience. So my expectations are that will maintain at Arsenal. If he falls off, I'll be very upset. But I'm expecting quite a bit in this summer window. Maybe not in terms of like I don't expect him to get the top echelon of players all the time. But I do feel like I'm expecting us to have the type of window that Edu just could not produce. I'm just sorry. He just fell off.
I'm wary about expectations though, Jess, man. I'm at the point of show and prove, man.
True.
I know it's nothing to do with you, BERTA. Your CV speaks for itself, but everybody at Arsenal, the players, the manager, the owners, you show and prove. Show me that at this football club you can sell for good things. Show me that we can pivot if we don't get our A1 targets. And even if you can get your A1 targets, it's great. It's show and prove, man. I ain't got no expectations, man. Because when I did, they didn't want to do serious things.
Yeah. Ambrose says Arsenal needs a Paquetá style player in the number 8 to play with Odegaard and not be an attacking player on the left-hand side. Paquetá would be an attacking player on the left-hand side.
He's about to get banned, though.
Yeah. I have completely given up on the idea that we're going to change the way that we play. I really do think it's going to maintain the workhorse style. And so the only way that we can offset that is with better attackers. And
Different personnels and profiles.
absolutely. And I do think that a midfield of Odegaard, Bruno G, and Rice really does work. I would prefer that to Zubimendi, but either way, it's all about the attackers that we buy. That's just it. Like, speaking of attackers, we have drawn Real Madrid in the Champions League. And if there was one thing that defines that team is their attackers, Mbappe, Vinny Jr., Rodrigo, who is incredibly talented, Jude Bellingham, you know, they probably are like licking their lips. But do we have, should we be positive? Should we feel like we have an opportunity? Like, what is, Thierry said believe, but I'm like, I'm a little shook. I'm like, I don't know what it's going to be like. Yeah.
A little.
Yeah,
Fair enough, man. You be good at poker. You got a good poker face. I'm scared shitless, man. Listen, you've got a trace. I mean, you've got a chance in anything in life, innit? You've got a chance, but I see no evidence as to why we could get through. And I hope to God I'm wrong. I don't think we can do this low block thing over 180 minutes. I think they're bigger scumbags than us. Yes, people can say the game might be open, but are we going to move the ball quick enough and take our chances like they potentially can? When I look at the way they weren't the best of studies, but when you look at how they played across the two legs against Atletico and in the tie before that, they've shown they can tweak and do little things. I think most people that understand and watch football, you could never downplay Carlo Ancelotti tactically. But in this day and age with the tracksuits and looking the part, people downplay that. Arteta on the best of days has no answers when he plays experienced managers. You versus Carlo, there's nothing there. I don't know if we're going to get stage fright at the Bernabeu. I hope they've learned their experiences from Munich. Real Madrid do this. As you said yourself, they're littered with attackers. And it's one thing talking about the key players. Like, they're shit houses. They're going to foul us. They're going to disrupt stuff. They're going to play for everything. They got, I don't even know if he's fit, but they got the Ceballos and the Diaz's and the Vasquez of this world. Valverde's going to be all over the place. I think it's a task too high for Arsenal, but all I want to do is see us be brave and just leave it all out there, man. Like, if you give it your best and it's a close game and you can't get over the line, of course I would be disappointed, because who doesn't want to win the champs? But I'd say, you know what, fair play. Yeah, I don't think we can, innit? I don't think there's any tangible evidence. And people will look at 06, come on, man, for a variety of reasons. The mentality at that point was very different. Even a young
adjacent to the Invincibles. We were not so far removed from that. So there was still a sprinkle of that in there, despite that team not being as good, you know. You know, it wasn't. And Thierry spoke about that too. Like, no matter what, most times, most teams are going into a game against Real Madrid as the underdog or the team that's meant to go out. You know, it's very rare any team is going to go in feeling like it's an equal playing field, or, you know, whatever. So,
and don't forget the attack. Like, don't forget the health of the squad. Like, even if we had everyone fit, it's still a big ox. Don't know if Saka's going to be there. Don't even know if I want Saka there or I want him to rest for next season. All hopes are on a young Wanyeri and Lewis Skelly. Merino up front, with the greatest of respect, is fucking nonsense going and playing Real Madrid. Prove me wrong, Arsenal. I will apologize, and I want to be wrong, because I want my team to stay in the champs and potentially win it. But it's a fallacy. I don't think there's concrete evidence. Like, I don't see it.
You know, the thing about Real Madrid that just, I think, is the most discouraging thing about them is, you know, most people just say they always find a way to get it done. But when you're watching it, it just feels so insane. Like, the universe just works for them to get it over the line. Even in the final last season, Dortmund were all over them and should have scored. They didn't, and it cost them.
Atletico yesterday.
Atletico, yes. You see them all the time. They're getting cooked. Other teams are getting chances. They even score at times, but they just figure it out. And they have the level of
young spray, if you know.
Yeah, they have the level of belief that I just don't think this team has in any way, shape, or form.
We're being chucks, though, apparently. Said someone in the comments, because we're not sitting there and saying, oh, we can take on the world. Listen, there's plenty of Arsenal fans that sit there and go, bring on Real Madrid, starting 11s with bare Arsenal players over Real Madrid. You got to listen to them. I hope they're right, you know. I hope they're right. Even
It,
though I don't believe we have a snowball's chance, belief is the one thing. What I don't want is my players to go out there and go, "Oh, the burnabout. These players are amazing." Belief is everything. They bleed just like us. If you're a defender, try win your individual battles. If you're an attacker, try win your individual battles, and we keep it moving in it. But despite all of that, this is not kumbaya, man. This is football is not fairy tales, bro. Like, what are you seeing with our team to make you think you could do that? Come
yeah,
on, man.
I think there's
A man said I never practiced sport as a kid.
there's certain times in a fan's life where you are allowed to feel like it's not going to work out for you. And when you draw Real Madrid and you have no Saka right now, no real attack, and you're playing Tierney and Marino up front, I think it's okay for you to say it's probably not going to happen. It's just not.
Apparently, I haven't practiced sport. You can go on my YouTube channel if I can see my goal. I spin all the time, mate. What are you doing apart from typing or your little wank stain, mate? Your little cum stain in the keyboard. Come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
I just have a difference of opinion to you. We are a good team space time, but we're not in the best possible health. And we're a good team. Madrid are a great team. Apart
Yeah.
from these buzzwords and these statements, where's the tangible evidence that we can beat Madrid? Where is it? Like, where is it? The only thing I will say is anything can happen in football, and upsets are there to happen. And believe, I literally said belief is everything. Where's the tangible evidence that we can move to Madrid? Come on, we can say these sentences, and it sounds great, but it's not making sense.
Yeah,
Come
I
on,
mean,
man.
it's just one of those things where now on the day, like to me, there's a big difference between if I felt like there was no chance whatsoever, I would say that. I think there is a chance. Do I
Go
think
out
it
there
will
and try.
happen? No, I don't. I just feel like if we were playing against whatever fucking team, let's say who's a bum? Who's a bum ass team? We're
Spurs.
gonna yeah, if we're gonna play against like Spurs or some low level team, whatever, somebody in the championship, let's say, and we got drawn against them and their fans were chatting up like all this, oh yeah, we're gonna beat Arsenal, we're gonna beat Arsenal. We'd be fucking offended. Why? Because it's highly unlikely that that's gonna happen. It's just the other way around on us this time. We are not as good as them. Does that mean that there's no chance we can go through? Of course not. Of course
Literally
there's
said
a chance that
believe,
we can go
bro,
through.
believe. Like, and a man said,
Absolutely.
where
And
was
on
the
the day,
tangible evidence? Someone said, where's the tangible evidence Sterling would do anything? Listen, I love a Sterling legend. He got 2 assists. He was not great at 90 minutes. A broken clock is right twice a day. Marie, like, if we want to be that stupid, where was the tangible evidence Mikel Merino was going to work against Leicester? This is not making sense. There's too many unanswered questions. Do I think we can give them a game? Do I think we're going to? Yes, I do think we can give them a game. Do I think we're going to get embarrassed? No, I don't. But do I have faith that if Real Madrid have 2 chances in the game to nick it and we have 2 chances, I think Madrid are more likely to accept that. And also, it's not just about how good you are at your best. It's also about how good you are at your worst. Can you still do something? If we can nick it on a set piece, which we ain't scored since September or December better yet, fair enough, man.
I'm dead. Yeah, I mean,
Big
ultimately,
teeth shout.
I don't know why it's so
I
funny
hear it from.
because we know exactly what that looks like too. I love Big Gabby. Shout out to him. But yeah, I think ultimately, like, there's nothing wrong with knowing that you're underdogs and being a little bit pessimistic about going up against a team that, even when they don't play well, just seem to get it going, especially when we're at a low point. We're at a low point right now. So there's nothing wrong with that.
I hope you lot are right. I want my team to win. But do you want me to sit
Absolutely.
here and
I
lie because
want
how I
yours.
feel because it appeases you lot? Come on now.
Yeah, I think ultimately, like, we all want us to win and we hope that we get through. It's just going to be a tough one. Now, the approach for the game, I think, will be interesting. Um, what would scare me the most is if we have the ball and we're sitting at the halfway line. How do you want to see us approach this game? Like, how do you want us to approach a tie against this strange enigma, force of nature, black magic institution in Real Madrid? How do you want us to attack them?
It's gonna
What do you
sound
want to see?
it's gonna sound hypocritical, but have respect, but no respect. Don't over respect them. They bleed just like us. They're human just like us. Win your individual battles and take it from there. Box smart, really and truly. I can't expect us to go gun ho out there. I don't want us to be too defensive because you're just inviting pressure. We have to, in my opinion, we have to be a lot more attacking at the Emirates and a lot more hands off, really. And it's one thing with the players, Arteta as well. I need you lot to move the ball a lot quicker, like you've previously done. I need you lot to get back to scoring from set pieces. I need players. Like, I know the manager is going to tell you to do things, and you have to act to the, you have to, you know, listen to the manager. But if there's an opportunity for individual brilliance, take it. Like you, it's a poor example, but Zinchenko, I very much doubt Mikel Arteta is telling you to shoot. The space is opening. Have an effort. Just believe in yourselves. I don't have to believe in my team, but I want you lot to.
Absolutely.
We have to box smart, man. And Arteta, it's one thing with the players. Arteta is going to have to win the battle against Carlo as much as it's 11 versus 11. Hopefully we get no reds.
Please don't speak that into existence, because if they pull out a red card early on in a game, I'm done. I won't be able to. I will just simply pass away. There's just no way. I'm so sorry. I cannot do it. This is a good comment. I think, you know, do you think Vinny and Mbappe are happy to face Saliba and Gabriel? I bet you they're over it already. And I get your point. And we had spoken about this on Deluded channel, that if there's like 2 or 3 people that we know are gonna they're gonna be on business, it's gonna be those two. The only play I've only really seen them get like totally outplayed once, and that was Isak, you know, in that one game that
No shame in that.
Yeah, and so I know that Mbappe and Vinny Jr. and Jude Bellingham pose similar threats in terms of their creativities and things like that. But for the most part, Gabriel and Saliba like turn off the light on most attackers. So if there's anybody that I really do want to see them come up against the best of the best, because I believe that they'll come out on top in terms of the respect will be there for what they've done. Now moving forward, child, I don't know nothing about that. I do want to see Declan Rice against Jude Bellingham. I do want to see that. I think they know each other well enough where that could be a fun battle. I'm not sure what's going to happen going up front. I think there's one player in particular that if they don't show up, I just don't know if they recover, and that's Odegaard. He must. He
has
must.
to, man. We ain't got time for that soft shit, man. Like, at the end of the day, we wanted to be at. We ain't got time for this soft shit. I love Odegaard, but we haven't got time for that. Like, we need everybody. At the end of the day, if you really want to, as much as this football club and the manager and the players, they say they want to be in a realm like this. They say they want to play in these challenges and get teams like this. This is what it's about. If you're Saliba and if you're our defenders, relish playing against their attackers. If you're our attackers, relish playing against their defenders. At the end of the day, this is where you see your true level, regardless of how the game pans out. If you're a defender and you keep Mbappe and all these guys quiet, it's not that you should overrate yourself, but you're quote unquote kind of levels. And the same goes in our final third versus their defense. Is where it is, man. Just do what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. He just needs he can't be a ghost. Like, there's just no way, because as much as if he doesn't play well, we just don't play well. And that's just the reality. Like, we don't play anywhere near our level when he's not ticking, and he just hasn't really found the form that he needs to. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to go. I really don't know how that's going to go, but
remember they sold you, Odegaard. Turn up, man. Remember they sold you.
What about Partey? How do you think he's going to fare in this, you know?
You just never know with Thomas, in it, but like,
you know,
Thomas just turn up. For the best part of this season, you've been turning up, in it. We need you, man. Look at your former team. They got dumped out. I'm sure all the Atletico Madrid fans are gonna be with us. Partey, you're stepping into the lines then, innit? Like, Partey, at the end of the day, you need your midfield, innit? Declan Rice, Partey, you know what to do, man. Like, Declan Rice, Partey, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, David Raya, even the young Lewis Skelly. You lot are the ones I proper believe in it. Hopefully Saka's back. I'm not gonna, hold my breath. I believe in the whole team, but you lot are the ones that I really have faith in. So do your thing, man. Man said Valverde's licking his lip. Boy, be fearless, because if everybody expects us to go out, keep doing your thing. It still ain't got that phone on silent. Not learning. No,
I'm not. I'm so, yeah.
A bit like Arteta with his tactics, not learning, not changing.
I am Mikel with the hard-headedness, but yeah, Saliba, like, I agree with like the Saliba being able to stand up to it. I just think the front 3, 4, are you gonna put up or shut up? You know, what are you gonna do? Who would Ethan be going up against? Oh, Mendy.
Big Ox. good test for him. I got faith in Wanyeri, but him and Lewis Skelly are like, I can't expect you to make the difference. You're young boys, isn't it? And we're still learning. I hate to use this because it sounds like a cop out, but the vast majority of these players, yeah, there's plenty that have played in, European and well, just international tournaments and European competition or whatever have you. But the vast majority of this club, including the manager, you're still getting your feet wet. Last season was the first real test. You got Bayern Munich, learn what you need to learn. This is now Madrid. I just don't want them. I want them to relish the occasion and rise to the occasion, but don't get too excited about playing at the Bernabeu and all of these things, man.
Oh, is this all this shit is true? Yeah? Like Rice and
Oh,
Timber
wow.
and
Wow.
Martinelli are all 1 yellow away from suspension. Manager felt he really needed to start Rice to defend a check notes 6-goal lead. Took him off and he got a yellow. After he got a yellow, it's infuriating. Okay,
One of
well
them will
that
get a yellow card in
sucks.
the first leg, man. It's
How
the industry. They're gonna have to take a yellow at some point in that game. Like, I'll be amazed if they get through the game at the Emirates. All three of them without a yellow.
they
If I had
said
to pick one, I prefer Martinelli. You want to have Timber and Rice available.
oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm
Get
not
him
gonna
sent off. I mean, get him that yellow card. Get him that
well
yellow card.
on your point that you made on your thing, the on your channel, the one thing that I do think Ben White would be good at is getting Vinny that yellow card in terms of getting in his head. You know, you need
Because
him
Madrid are
to
going to do it against
you
us.
need
They're
him
calling for
to
everything.
yeah, we need him to lose his head and be out at the game at the Bernabeu. I think that could help us. Like Keenan is saying, White could get Vinny on the yellow. We're going to have to use everything: set pieces, dark arts, restraint, everything to get through this. So that would be
It's a
probably the one
psychological
reason
game
why I
more than
play
anything as well.
White on that side is to get into his head. But yeah, I think if we take away the devastation of the rest of the season and in isolation, it's not the best, but this could be really good to see. I do want to see us against the best. I want to see what we look like.
This is
I
the realm
really
we wanted to be in.
yeah. I want to see what we look like when the pressure is really, really on. And I know that we've been under pressure and we haven't done well, but against the best of the best. Because I think some of our players can withstand the heat. Others, God bless you. I'm praying for you. I really am. I'm praying for you.
Wish we had Kai, man. It's a madness.
What was he gonna do?
Nah, you need him, man. He makes us, rightly or wrongly, we need us to look at who's available. We need Kai's needed.
That's fair. That's fair.
At least you will get into a bit of verbal with Rudiger. We can still go long and kind of work off that. Marino's playing up front, Jess.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Kovac says Rice and Sterling were really stupid for picking up them yellows yesterday. I think that's the thing. It's like you could say that they were, especially Rice, was stupid for getting it, or Arteta was like maybe not the smartest for even risking him. Rice needs to be fit for Chelsea. I don't know why he played so many minutes yesterday. I think that irritated me. I don't know if Arteta thought it could slip away. I don't know. But Arteta seems to like to play players when they're on the yellows and shit and just, I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, he rested mostly everybody, but I guess he felt like he needed something. But I don't know. Amina
Let's just
says
hope and pray, man.
our defenders love turning up against bigger teams to prove a point. I agree. Paul says the squad needs Jesus Christ up front. Seriously, I blame the board for not signing in the January window. Kwame says Timber shouldn't have been subbed on at all. Crazy. I didn't understand the subs. Victor says, nah, come on. We're in a dire situation. We need Rice. Jordan says the game will be a good game for BERTA to look at our players and see who has the mentality and who doesn't have it. Remember, BERTA came from Atleti. He's accustomed to mentality monsters. And, every time I watch Atleti play, whether they win or lose, I always think that they are a real side. Like they
Team of dogs.
are locked.
And see you next Tuesdays.
Yeah, I don't think. When's the last time we seen Atleti and thought they weren't locked in? I always think they're locked in. I think that they actually relish that whatever Simeone is telling them to do. They love that shit.
Simeone's celebrating All Black's goal kick more than Conor Gallagher's goal. He's a madman.
Yeah.
Absolute madman.
Yeah. Vic says, I don't care if Odegaard stinks out the rest of the season, but he needs to show up for the Madrid games. It's going to get ugly because it's just going to get ugly. We already know. If it was ugly now, it's going to get worse if he doesn't show up. Space Time says, Rice Yellow was really soft to be fair. Johan says, apparently, upon investigation of the game's penalty incident, they said there could be a replay. I don't see it happening, though. It's not happening. So yeah, but I think the whole Madrid thing is just very. It is what it is. You know, we got who we
Exactly.
got, and we just have to either show up or fucking don't. You know, but it could be
Have
fun.
no regrets, man.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe Sterling will. No, he won't. Will
They
he?
can't play in the first leg, so
Can't play in the first leg, so he won't. Maybe he won't.
we gotta have faith, man. We gotta have faith. Marino, Raheem Sterling. I know you got this Calafiori. I know you're gonna put a defensive masterclass in if you play.
You think Saka will be back?
Uh,
It's the 13th of
inshallah,
March, and the game is on the 8th. The one at home.
inshallah. It's with God. I don't even know. I'm conflicted because naturally you want to see Saka involved in some capacity against Real Madrid, but
No, but rush him back though.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not really on the rushing back thing. Like I'm not a physio. If he's fit, he's fit, I guess. But I just don't want him to get any other relapse of this injury. It's a serious hamstring tear. I don't want this to be any long-term injury beyond what it is at the moment. But he did score against PSV, did score against Bayern, if I remember correctly. He's our big game player. He's a star boy, isn't it? Like, boy, I would love to see that, Viggs, in it. You know what? If we don't win and I see a Saka goal and a fantastic last-ditch sliding tackle on Mbappe by Saliba, like when it was Marseille versus PSG, fair enough. I just want us to equip ourselves, in it. That's it. It's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Let's read a couple more of these comments before we get out of here. Keenan says, we can dominate a midfield of Bellingham, Camavinga, and Modric. Tchouaméni being out is huge advantage.
By God's grace, man.
Yeah, boy says, oh, he did start Zinni over Odegaard, so play one of the academy kids. Foxy says, sad if Arsenal risks Saka's career like that. He needs a good preseason to recover. Big says, Saka curlers side net for far post at Bernabeu. Mark this. This is just so funny to me. Mr. Gegenpress Sterling Bernabeu 90-minute dagger to make it 6-1 loss on aggregate. We're so back. I'm not gonna lie, that's so funny. Burmy says Marino up front is weak. We need another plan. You guys are saying put Martinelli up there. I don't know.
Well, this is just his platform.
Listen, I'm listen.
Certain people said that is the thing over at the left field options like Martinelli or something. So I hope it works in it. Jess is with Arteta with the Merino thing. You would have seen on the some of you would have seen on my stream. Fair enough. I hope it works. Listen, whatever Arteta does, whatever I've got to say about how I feel against Real Madrid, I want to be wrong. I don't think we're beating Real Madrid, but who doesn't want their team to win and get as far in the champs as possible? And the craziest thing is, I see someone tweet this today. Yeah, how far fetched would it be? Is it better yet that? And it's a big if we beat Real Madrid and then we play Aston Villa. I'm never going to say where they went with it, but every Arsenal fan knows where I'm going.
I mean, that's our worst case scenario is to meet Aston Villa in the next round. I'd rather go out.
I want to stay in this tournament as much as possible, man. Because if you do beat Real Madrid, I still wouldn't believe we're going to win it, but you start to quote unquote believe a little bit.
Just for walking? No.
Someone have to sit Arteta in a room and say, listen, you can't be going out to Aston Villa. If you beat Real Madrid, we need to make that final. We need to. If you beat Real Madrid, you need to get that final. But you can't beat Real Madrid in the champs in the knockout stage that it don't mean nothing. You have to get to that final by hook or by crook. You have to. I don't care how you do it. You have to.
Simply pass away. I just against Emery, no. Arteta, he does not have a good grip on Emery, like at all. Like he's very much so losing that battle every single time. Let's see. Amina says I can't have Saka rush back. We can catch an L. It's all about what the physios think, but yeah, we have to think about next season and the likelihood of us getting through here. we probably have no chance of really getting beyond Real Madrid without him, but it's still such a low possibility. Do you want to risk it? And I think, you know, Arsenal we will see Saka before the end of the season. We all know that. So,
I guess you know what, it's on Saka, you know, because if he passes the medical test, technically he's fit. The manager and the coaching staff and the physios are gonna ask him he's all right. But it's down to him to truly know. Like, do you really, if they ask you, if they say Saks, are you right to play? And he's 100%, fair enough. But if he knows I'm 99%, 99.9% fit, but there's that other percentage where I'm actually feeling a knock, and he goes out there and it goes left, he's gonna have to hold that. So, and I do think, unpopular opinion, I know people say footballers don't care. Saka is going to want to play in a game like this. It's probably breaking the lad's heart that he's been on the bench for a lot of this season. Well, not a lot of the season, but since the turn of the year. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it really is. So we'll see how it goes. But listen, it's Real Madrid. What will happen, what will happen. And I agree with the comment about BERTA being able to watch us against Real Madrid and know what we need in order to be able to compete in these types of matches.
You wonder could see what we need, man. But I don't need to see us to know about that. But I hear it.
This is true. You could have seen it against Man United. It was so shit. It was so shit. Not winning that game, I was just like, you guys are so predictable. I'm so sick of you. Like,
same thing week in, week out, unfortunately, man.
Yeah, 100%. You guys make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel on your way out. And also make sure to go to Diluted's channel and watch the show that we did. It's the same, but different. We actually argued at length about who should play right back. If you guys want to see that, newsflash. He was
wrong. Win, man. Marino's going up front at the Bernabeu, man. Arsenal manager.
No. But yeah, if you guys want to see that, make sure you guys check that out. Where can they find you? What you got coming up next? Like, what's the tea on that?
I'm gonna do a watch along. It's either gonna be Spurs, Alkmaar, or Man United Sociedad. I pull up my community tab and left it to a vote. So whatever the people voted for, I would be with that. As you said yourself, we've done a stream already on my channel, so check that out. And I did a stream, like a solo stream before. So yeah, man, it is what it is. Johan, do you know what the great thing? Put his comment on, please, before we get out of it. Do you know what the greatest thing is about YouTube?
Oh, this one?
Do you know what the greatest thing about YouTube? You're entitled to do whatever the fuck you want, lads. Like, it's no skin off my nose. But anyways, for those that are not like him, just type in Deluded Guna. It's probably in the title. Do all of that in it, man. Johan, you could do whatever you want, mate. Like, why for next man watching me anyways? But yeah, man. One love for having me. One love, chat. And you know what? This is what football's about, man. We've all got differences of opinions, innit? And we all want the best, which is for Arsenal to win trophies and for us to beat Real Madrid. So I have to see, man. But yeah, Jess, one love for having me, man. Nice to finally be back on your platform. I was banished.
You were not banished. I just had shit going on. But yeah, you guys like, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.
Love.